Hey everyone. So in today's video, I want to talk about getting a solid balance and unity between what we're going to call the eternal self and the earthly self. So you could also think of it as being the divine self and the impermanent self. So your earthly self is your interface that the impermanent self, not the impermanent self, the eternal self shines through, works through to be a part of this world. And of course, your eternal self is otherwise known as the universe, the infinite source. That is all you, that is all yourself. As you probably know, your spirit, your divine, your higher self is just, it's a point of consciousness within the greater spirit that is the ocean of the universe, of the infinite. So it's all happening at the same time. So your most earthly self, your body and the personality, is one side of the scale that moves up through to your divine eternal self. And in life, for us to achieve life mastery, they need to be equally important and united. One cannot take precedence over the other. When they are united, you become a formidable human being. And not only that, but you can become a master on this planet. There's so much power from that unity. And this is a part of the teachings of the New Earth Mastery. So I do an online course, and this is going to form part of a free kind of introductory video course. So, and these, these concepts of the eternal and the earthly self are quite key, because in the old time, because I differentiate between the New Earth Mastery and we could say the old earth or the old time. In the old time, there was a strong emphasis on enlightenment. It was more enlightenment than mastery. Mastery is the kind of new enlightenment, if you like. So why do we need to have those two equally strong and equal balance? So from the teachings of the old time, we know why it is so important for us to connect, identify with our eternal self, with Source. Because in that old time that we were coming out of, our ego structures were so dense, there was so much opacity and ignorance that we were completely cut off from our divine natures. So everything was very, very out of balance. So the kind of wave of consciousness and spiritual teachings were very solidly about that need to just connect with our spirit, to just awaken to spirit as a kind of compensatory reaction to the density. And so what that means when you have that, when you have yourself, your divine self, your eternal self, when you have strengthened that awareness, that path, that part of you has come into full power and presence in your life, it means that you're never alone. Like, you never have to figure anything out. There is no problem that doesn't have a solution, because you just have this, the light of your spirit, of your eternal self, just shining through you. It's like there's this kind of translucent quality to yourself and to life, because you sense the energetic quality of everything, that the density is illusory. And you feel that light coming through. It's like your spirit has got your back. There's this beautiful radiant energy, and your heart opens. You can feel this peace and bliss within. And you know that no matter what situation you are in, because you're being guided by your spirit, which comes through your heart as a positive feeling about something. You follow the signs of what feels good, what feels expansive and inspiring and lights up your heart. It's such a simple design. It's such a simple method. If only everybody, really grasped that. So when you're following that, any situation that you find yourself in, if there's a problem, you know that, okay, but it was my spirit that led me here. And these are the circumstances, these are the conditions. So therefore I know that there's a solution. There already is a solution. I just have to let it land into place. So there's never anything to worry about. And I had a beautiful moment in my spiritual journey with this, where I was trying to make something happen for my life purpose, and it felt like such a big thing to help the planet in this way, and I was getting all this resistance, all these difficulties, and I was so frustrated. I was like, and so I said to Sorest God, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in this room, and I'm not leaving until you give me the answer. I'm not going anywhere. Tell me what's going on. And the answer I got from God personified was, all you ever need to worry about is staying connected to me. Because when you are connected to me, everything flows from that place. All your actions are aligned. All your manifestings, a beautiful dragonfly, everything that's happening in your reality is coming from that sponsoring place. So when you have that, you have everything. But if you lose that, you have nothing. So don't ever compromise on that. Let your compromise be having to let go of things. If you think you have this amazing idea that's going to save the planet and it's not working, and the stress makes you lose connection with Source, let it go. Don't lose that connection. It's the most important thing you have. So that became that whole path of remembering, of being my eternal self, took over my life to the point where there was no other self, actually. And then, just as yin must eventually mature and turn to yang, I got to the point where the next part of my guidance from Source was to come fully back down to earth, to my body, to my physical interface, and actually develop again this earthly self, which really threw me, because I detached from having desires and a kind of personality that felt certain ways about different things. But what I realized in coming back into that place, that there was still like an undeveloped earthly self there. There were lots of imbalances in my personality, if you like, that were still there, that I wasn't experiencing so long as I was in my eternal self. But they were still there. Becoming reunited with Source didn't fix everything, because we're also having a human experience. We also have to strengthen our earthly human self. This has to be a strong vehicle as well, to actually hold all of the teachings and the light of our eternal selves. Because if this vessel isn't strong enough, we can't even fully integrate it. There'll be times where we receive some insight or intuition or guidance on something, and we don't follow it, because our earthly self isn't strong enough to use discernment and to make difficult decisions, to really take responsibility, take action. And I spoke a lot about this in the videos on magical thinking versus magical creating. Because when we're just united with the eternal self, which so many spiritual teachings emphasize, that alone, we're familiar with the term of being ungrounded, but what that means, what that becomes, is that we cannot materialize, we cannot fully manifest, we cannot bring into actualization our life purpose. our higher purpose of what we're here to bring to the planet. We cannot be creators, co-divine creators. We're giving our power away all the time to some kind of source that is everything instead of the source that is here within us. This embodied drop of divine power that is coming through this unique set of frequencies with this unique purpose. That needs to be strengthened. So when those two are united and in balance, they've got each other's back, because the eternal self doesn't belong in this world. They need to work together. They both need to be strong. So you need to develop both paths. And, a lot of people just go straight for the Enlightenment. And it can be quite brutal, because then there can be this kind of destroying of the ego, of the earthly self. But who created the earthly self? None other than your eternal self. So you'd be destroying your own creation. So actually, it can be a more balanced way to develop your earthly self first. That's not what I did. I developed my eternal self first and then realized I had an earthly self that still needed a lot of work for me to achieve any sense of mastery. But it can be nicer to achieve balance in your life first, and then to gradually let the eternal self shine through more and more and more from that solid foundation, like a tree, having that incredibly solid foundation from which to then reach out to spirit and shine and blossom and provide fruit for the world. That's it for now. More on that soon with further videos. Lots of love.